Hi everyone, this is Arad from English for Everyone, and today's lesson is about past perfect. Before I had a lesson about present perfect, and this one is going to be about past perfect. Past perfect and present perfect are very similar in many ways. So I think if you haven't watched present perfect, you'd better do so. You can click on this eye on this corner, it will take you to that video. If you watch that one, understanding past perfect would be easier. Past perfect, present perfect and simple past. Three kind of sentences. Three tenses. These all happen in the past. Simple past happens in past. Present perfect and past perfect, they all happen in past. Present perfect happens in past, has an influence on the time being or continues up to this time. But what is past perfect? Imagine something happens in the past. Okay, we call it simple past. Okay, but sometimes we have two things happening in the past. Two things happening in the past. One happened in past, let's say 2 hours ago. Something happened before that. That is also past. Okay, we do not have something like past time, second past or something like that. Actually, that is before. Okay, so this happens before and this is before. Okay, so to talk about before, we use past perfect. When we talk about two actions, two events, two verbs, two things in the past, to show that one comes first, one comes earlier than the other one, we use past perfect. And it might have an influence. This first sentence might have an influence on the second one, and this could be the reason. So because of this, this happens. So sometimes this is the reason and this is the result. Sometimes they are not related. They are just happening one after each other, one after the other. So this happens and then this happens. They are not related. Sometimes they are totally just reversed, they're related. One is the reason, because of this happens. But not always, okay? The other thing is that talking about the two events, we might use the way round. We talk about the before and then before. Let me give you an example, everything will be clear. Imagine I'm talking about yesterday, going to someone to prepare lunch, maybe, to feed the person. I go there to cook lunch. When I reach there, I realize or I find out that the person has eaten already. Okay, so this is the time I get there, when I reach their house, and this is eating. Eating lunch happens before my arrival. I want to talk about this event, and I say he had eaten his lunch when I reached there. Okay, so now you can see it on the screen. When he had eaten his lunch when I reached there. Okay, when I reached there is the second thing, and I use simple past, and that is closer to now. But one happens earlier, and that is the first sentence, which says he had eaten his lunch. So that comes earlier, that happens first, so I use present perfect, past perfect. Okay, and what is in the sentence that makes it past perfect? There are two things in the sentence. One, had, the other one, the third form of the verb, had eaten. Okay, so a past perfect sentence has had and third form of the verb in the verb phrase. Okay, so I have subject and then the verb, but the verb is had plus past participle or third form of the verb. In this case I have had eaten. Had eaten means this comes first and then reaching home happens. He had eaten his lunch when I reached there. And I can also put it the way around, and I say when I reached there When I reached there, he had eaten his lunch. When I reached there, he had eaten his lunch. Okay? Imagine you're late for a meeting and you go there and you see they are in the middle of the meeting. Okay? So you reach there and they are in the middle of the meeting. So meeting starts before you reach there. Okay? So talking about this event, I might tell my friends like this. I say, when I reached there, they had started the meeting, or they had started the meeting when I reached there, or they had already started the meeting when I reached there. It shows that both events, both actions are related to past, but one comes first. There is another thing. Sometimes these two are related. One is the reason for the other one. Sometimes they are not. Let me give you an example. I say, I didn't buy that because I had lost my wallet. I didn't buy that because I had lost my wallet. Losing the wallet happens first and is the reason for not buying that. Okay, so these are related. The past participle, or let's say past perfect, is the reason for simple past in this case. But sometimes they are not related. They are completely two different things, but one comes earlier. For example, when I moved to England, I had studied English at university. So that shows that one has happened earlier. I'm not talking about the place that I have learned it. I'm just telling that two things are in my life and one comes earlier, one happens earlier in my life. Okay? Sometimes the two actions are really, really close to each other. Sometimes there is a big gap between the two. One happens years ago and one happens a minute ago. Well, again, one happens first and the other one happens later. So because of this, we can use the past perfect. When the two actions are very, very, very close to each other, we use just. Okay? I say, when I went to the train station, the train had just left. Had just left means when so let's say it's like saying I went to the train station at 7:01. Okay, and the train has left at 7 o'clock. Okay, so 1 minute or less than that between the two actions. So to show that they are very close to each other, I can use just. They had just started the meeting when I arrived, or the train had just left when I reached or when I arrived, something like this. So, as it was in the example, we can use only, just, always, already, and these kind of things between had and the past participle to show the frequency or to show how close they were, how closely they happened, let's say. Alright, so let's review. We are talking about two actions in the past, or two events, two things in the past. One happens earlier and then the other one. Sometimes they are very, very close. Sometimes there is a big gap between the two. Sometimes the first one is the reason for the other one. Sometimes they are not related, just one happens earlier, but they are not related. They are not the reason for each other. We use past participle for the first sentence and simple past for the second one. Sometimes we prefer to put it the way around. That is also possible. But the one that happens earlier, appearing in the beginning of the sentence or in the middle of the sentence, doesn't matter, always is using had plus past participle. I mean had plus third form of the verb. Okay? I had eaten, I had lost, I had seen, I had watched. Okay? These are all things that has happened in the past before another action. before another event. Okay, so to talk about things that has happened in the past and has happened earlier than another action, we use past perfect. And that's all, I think. So if you have any questions, if I have missed a bit, just let me know and by commenting it below the video, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I'll see you in the next video. Till then, bye bye.